Right.
Right.
We'll make a start now. Thank you all for joining us today. So we've got 83 participants so far, which is fantastic. Welcome to the AWRC Wellbeing Accelerator Showcase. My name is Simon Butler. I'm the head of the Wellbeing Accelerator program here at the AWRC and Sheffield Hallam University. Today's event is all about showcasing the Wellbeing Accelerator and telling you what the accelerator is about, telling you how successful it's been, and giving you an opportunity to see 12 of our most innovative and exciting startups that we've been supporting who are going to be pitching. I would say now that we are recording this event, so if you've got any problems with that, please contact Georgina or just don't turn your video on. This recording will be used on YouTube and on social media. I also have to apologise that we're currently on Zoom. The plan was for this to be an event at the Welcome Trust building in London with a very spanky do, with lots of lovely food, great networking opportunities, and a drinks reception at the end. But for obvious reasons, we can't do that. So we're on Zoom instead, but hopefully you'll bear with us if we have any technical gremlins. The final thing on this slide is, you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner of the slide, we have a hashtag, AWRC Showcase. We're going to be live tweeting. Please join us, join in with that hashtag. Right, so we've got a packed schedule this afternoon. We're trying to replicate what would have been a one-day program, a one-day event in just 3 hours. So we've got lots to cover. So we've got the first few talks are all about the AWRC, the Wellbeing Accelerator program, how successful it's been, and then how we pivoted to become a fully virtual accelerator during a pandemic. We then got the first of our pitching sessions at 2:35, where we've got 4 of our startups who will be giving 3-minute pitches. Because we're the AWRC and we're about moving more, we want to give you a break so you're not staring at the computer screen all afternoon. And so at 3 o'clock, we've got our first break. Get up, stretch your legs, and make a cup of tea. Then we have networking at 3:10, where we're going to be splitting you into breakout rooms, but I'll tell you more about that when that happens. Then we've got our main panel discussion about supporting R&D in wellbeing innovation. Then further pitches at 3:40, another 4 pitches, another break, this time maybe go and get a chocolate biscuits because you'll have earned one having been on Zoom for 2 hours. And then we'll come back for our final pitches, then some closing words from me, then our final networking session, and we'll aim to wrap up about 5 o'clock. So that's all I wanted to say. Enjoy the event. And next up, you'll hear from Duncan, who'll tell you a bit about housekeeping.
Hi, everyone. So very quickly, just a couple of housekeeping rules. I'm going to be moderating this event, so just spotlighting those who are talking and dealing with any technical issues. Just to let everyone know, if you could rename yourself so you have your full name in your title, you can do that in the participants section. Hover over your name, click more, and then you can rename yourself. Please make sure you have your cameras on and that you're on mute unless you are about to start speaking. Please avoids any crossover. I'll be trying to keep us to time, so I'll let you know when you're running out of your allotted time, and I'll also be letting those who are speaking next know that they're about to start with their presentation. If someone's connections fails, we'll move on to the next person. So that we don't hold up any more time. If you have any problems, please just let myself and Georgina know in the chat, and we'll contact you and try and help and support you throughout the event. The final thing is best view to see what's happening is, so you go up to view, and then you use side-by-side speaker view, and that will show you who I'm spotlighting for you throughout the event. You can, of course, just use gallery view if you want to see everyone else's lovely faces, but if you want to focus on who's talking, side by side and speaker. I'm going to hand back over to Simon now.
Right, so our first main speaker of the day is Rob Copeland, the director of the AWRC, and I'll hand you over to Rob now.
Thank you, Simon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's fantastic to be able to share some time with you all celebrating the work of the AWRC Accelerator. Thank you for prioritising this event. I'm sure there's lots of places that you could be. I'd like to start by thanking Chris, Simon, Kim, Ryan, Terry and Georgina and all the mentors and businesses for their incredible hard work on the Accelerator. You will hear some of the fantastic projects that have gone on and what's made the Accelerator a success this afternoon. But I want you to start with a word of thanks because these programs don't come to life by accident. Next slide, please. In January this year, we marked 12 months since the opening of the Advanced Wellbeing Research Centre, and the centre was established with investment from Sheffield Hallam University. £15 million of investment also came from the Department of Health and Social Care and the European Regional Development Fund. And we have a vision to transform lives through innovations that help people move. Movement is essential. It brings numerous health, social, educational, economic and environmental benefits to us. And yet we have systematically removed movement out of our daily lives. If you're like me and you think about the opportunities that you have to move during a normal day, there aren't many, especially in the current climate. We predominantly use motorized transport. We sit to work, we watch, we click, we swipe, and then we repeat. And it's understandable. Inactivity is comfortable, it's attractive, it's easy, and our environments reinforce these inactive behaviors without us even thinking about it. And they require very little cognitive, emotional, or physical effort. But we also know that this lack of movement isn't good for us. It's not good for our society, our physical or mental well-being, or indeed our economy. And the COVID pandemic has shone a light on the inequalities that lack of movement also brings to our society. And so tackling these inequalities is why placing physical activity at the heart of the vision for the AWRC is so important to our region, to our economy, and to how we can build back to a vibrant, thriving and more equal society post-pandemic. Next slide, please. We're here to showcase the work of the AWRC Accelerator, but we have a much wider remit, and our business and vision is built on 5 core pillars. So firstly, we bring together leading academic expertise from across the university to undertake research in physical activity. Second, we provide access to R&D capability for global business and dynamic SMEs, of which the Accelerator is one part. Our third pillar is about strategic collaborations with companies who share our vision and mission to design and co-design products and interventions that promote well-being. And many of our collaborators are on the call today, including Westfield Health and Canon Medical Systems, to name but 2. Our fourth pillar, in partnership with the National Centre for Sport and Exercise Medicine, is about being an innovation hub for health and care services. So we bring together patients, clinicians, researchers to address market failures in the NHS that can then be scaled regionally, nationally, and globally. And our fifth and final pillar focuses on the development and delivery of postgraduate courses, CPD, doctoral programs and apprenticeships under the banner of training and education. And this is so we can train the next generation of researchers who can work across academia, but importantly, also industry. Next slide, please. The last 12 months have represented an incredibly challenging year, but I'm very proud of the positive impact that the AWRC team have had. Some of the highlights are on screen, and they include the opening of the facility and recognition for colleague Dave Hember as the BBC Sports Personality Unsung Hero Award for Yorkshire and Humber. As the research hub for the National Centre in Sheffield, we've supported more than 1.5 million vulnerable older adults to remain active with our Active at Home booklet, as well as making a substantial contribution to the rehabilitation agenda from the COVID pandemic with our recovery unit. There's so much more to come in 2021 that includes a rehabilitation program for people with a cancer diagnosis. But I want to finish with one of the things that I'm most excited about for 2021, and that's the continued engagement of business and industry in helping to achieve our vision. Jason Brannan, who will be on the panel later, our Deputy Director, is now in post, and he will lead the next phase of our strategy and engagement in R&D for business. I've no doubt that that's going to lead to even more impactful programs of work, including acceleration for startups, that will move us closer to the AWRC vision to transform lives through innovations that help people move. You are all invited to continue that journey with us. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your attendance today, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Simon, back to you.
Right, thank you very much, Rob. That was a great overview. And talking of overviews, it's up to me now to give you an overview of the AWRC Wellbeing Accelerator, because some people in the room might not be aware of what we do or what we've done. And this will tell you about the program, why we set it up, how it was structured, and what might come next. So the AWRC Wellbeing Accelerator is all about helping startups and companies bring health and wellbeing innovations to market. It's based at the Advanced Wellbeing Research Centre at Sheffield Hallam University, and Rob's just told you all about that. When the AWRC was first set up, we realised that we needed a way to engage with businesses. As Rob has said, one of the core pillars of the AWRC is engaging with business. And we wanted to apply the world-class research, innovation and facilities that exist within the AWRC to support businesses, but we needed a mechanism for this. So in 2019, we applied for funding from Research England. Research England are part of UKRI, the UK government's research and innovation body. And they had a scheme to fund 20 university enterprise zones, or UEZs for short. And UEZs are specific geographical areas where universities and businesses can work together to increase local growth and innovation. So we applied for this scheme, and we're very fortunate to be one of 20 university enterprise zones to be funded by Research England. So my thanks to Research England for providing us with the funding. And so we used this as a way to fund an accelerator program and act as a business gateway into the AWRC, so that small companies would have a very easy way to get in and work with the AWRC in a structured, focused program. So what's the AWRC Wellbeing Accelerator all about? Well, it's a one-year program that started in April 2020. That seemed like a really good date to start a major program back in the beginning of March last year, but soon, by the middle of March, became a really terrible time to launch a major program. And the program's supposed to last for 1 year, but because of a couple of small delays due to COVID, we've been granted a very kind extension by Research England to finish those things off by the end of June. So we've had to pivot, and you'll hear more about this from Toby in a bit, from being a physically located program to being a virtual program due to COVID-19. And our target was to support 24 startups. So what are the benefits of the program to the startups? Well, up to £20,000 worth of bespoke support is available per startup. And that's to help them accelerate things like product development, rapid prototyping, validation, pilot studies, and specialist consulting. They'd also gain access to our research expertise, specialist facilities, high-end equipment, and incubator space. Now, that's that last bit, the incubator space, we didn't really do very much with, I have to be honest, because unfortunately, not very many people could visit the AWRC in the last 11 months. But what we were able to do lots of was workshops on relevant topics such as investor readiness, cybersecurity, selling into the NHS, and innovation. And then finally, the startups would gain mentoring sessions from leading industry figures And the mentors that we've recruited onto our program, and many of them are here today, have been absolutely wonderful. And you'll hear more about the kind of things they've done in Kim's talk in a bit. So what sort of startups were we looking for to join the program? Well, they had to meet 3 requirements, broadly speaking. The first, they needed to have a health and well-being innovation or idea that was really innovative and exciting. We needed to be confident that we had the right expertise to help them within the AWRC to take them forward to the next level. And then thirdly, they needed to fit into one of 3, or at least one of 3 impact themes of the AWRC. And those themes are healthy and active to 100, innovation that prevent disease and support people into 100 years of healthy and active life, living well with chronic disease. So that's management and treatment of chronic disease such as cancer, diabetes, stroke, etc., through physical activity as a therapy. And then the final one was technological and digital innovations to promote independent lives. And so that's technologies to help people move, improving health and well-being across the population. So the startups had to either directly or indirectly fit into at least one of these themes. To fit in directly, their intervention, product or service would need to involve something to do with physical activity or encourage physical activity or moving more. But they could also indirectly fit in, which could be if someone used that service or product, they might be more likely to take more physical activity or move more. So we recruited a fantastic team to run the program, so I head up the program, but my team are absolutely wonderful, and they're the reason why the program has been such a great success. And so that's Georgina, who is our administrator, Ryan, who is our project officer, Terry, our R&D manager, Kim, our relationship manager, and Toby, our independent advisor. They've all been fantastic, and under normal circumstances, it would be great for you to all interact with them today and be able to shake their hands, but we'll have to do it virtually. So in my earlier slide, I said that, that the accelerator program is due to run until the end of June. We don't want the accelerator program to just that to be it. We have plans for further programs. But within the AWRC, we are developing a wider R&D focus strategy, which will involve running future accelerator programs. And we're actively seeking funding for those future accelerator programs. I haven't got anything to announce at the moment, but we will have further programs in the future. We're currently talking to investors, funders, potential corporate sponsors and other stakeholders about future programs. So if anyone who is in the audience today fancies sending me a check, I'll be more than happy to receive it. Send me a private message and we can talk about details. But in all seriousness, we are looking at ways to fund a future accelerator program, and we'll be able to announce things when we come closer to the end of the current program in June. So I had 10 minutes to talk, and I see from my clock that I've only done 7.5 minutes. So either I'll I'll fill for time, or what I'll probably be better to do is to hand over straight over to Kim, and she can tell you about the highlights of the program. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, thanks Simon. So I'm going to tell you about our highlights today and how far we've come on the Wellbeing Accelerator. So far we've had 108 applications from all over the world, including Africa, Asia, Europe, North America and the UK. 28 of those have been accepted, with companies from 4 continents. We have 78 expert mentors who've interacted with our founders over 1,000 times, with 15 programme partners established and 31 virtual events ran so far. Since joining, our companies have also raised over £1.5 million in investment, and 4 of them have received national and regional awards. And this is how we did it, in a virtual world as well. The mentors have opened doors for our founders, CEOs and directors, which many of them claim have been closed for many years. Our experts have delivered online workshops covering a broad range of subjects, including how to access the NHS, attracting investment, CE marking, and business development. Our researchers and academics have worked really hard to create bespoke projects for all of our people on the accelerator. And these remote projects have been delivered throughout the pandemic. So it's real credit to the research and academic team. Networking has been key to this programme. The peer-to-peer sessions and speed mentoring have been perfect for making introductions and facilitating collaborations. And these are some of the main elements which have given the programme the greatest value to our founders, directors and CEOs. Our mentor network have been utterly incredible, and I wish I could speak about them all today, but unfortunately there's not time. So here's just 2 examples of some of the mentors that have given us immense support on the programme. And if you do want to read more about them, you can visit the AWRC website, where there's a short bio on every single one of our 78 mentors. And finally, here are some of our founders and directors. You will get to meet some of them in a little while, but here's a snapshot of how our accelerator programme has helped them. As you can see, the sense of community, access to experts and bespoke research projects are some of the main benefits that the participants have reported whilst being on our accelerator. That's it from me, thank you. And now I'll pass you on to Toby Stone.
Well, Kim, Georgina, do you want to just go back a slide, because you only used 2.5 minutes? Let's leave those slides up and people can read the quotes because they are fantastic. And so let's give people a minute or two to read the quotes.
If you want to see more quotes like this, there's lots on our Twitter feed and LinkedIn as well. So that's where you'll get a chance to see all the different wonderful things our participants and mentors have said about us. But as I said, I wish there was more time to go through them all today.
And honestly, we didn't pay them to say these nice things. They volunteered saying each and every word.
Thank you. Thanks, Simon.
Hi everyone, so I'm Toby Stone and I'm a tech entrepreneur, but also an expert in accelerator design, having set up some accelerators myself and then written a PhD about it. I was approached by Chris Lowe at Hallam over a year ago to help design this program. And at the time we looked at the value that's laid in the AWRC and Sheffield Hallam and tried to figure out how to share that value appropriately with startups and use the accelerator to build an ecosystem, which is what accelerators are very good at doing, bringing together large groups of people. So we designed something that had to be slightly different to the original generic accelerators. They were set up by investors to manage investing in a lot of different startups. What we were really trying to do was find and channel startups into carrying out R&D with AWRC. So it wasn't a good idea to create a cohort where everyone arrived at the same time, because we actually needed to get to know each company and design an R&D program for them. So we decided to break it down into phases. And we decided we would have a small cohort of startups joining, spending a week in Sheffield, getting to know each other, doing some mentoring, and then talking to the R&D team. And then over the following 3 weeks of that month, we would start their R&D projects before moving on to the next cohort at the beginning of the next month. We were ready to set this up, as Simon said, just as the first lockdown happened. And we discussed whether we should postpone the program or change it. And I think we made the right choice by just adapting, because otherwise we'd still be postponed. So we decided to go with the same process of bringing in small cohorts of people, startups, getting to know them, getting to know each other, and identifying their R&D needs. And the aim would be to start the R&D shortly afterwards and let it tail off potentially over quite a long time, because some of the R&D programs are more intensive than others. We had to address the fact that we were no longer going to be in Sheffield. And that raised all sorts of problems around mentoring and the fact that we couldn't meet up for meals and build that sort of connection between a cohort. So we've become experts in Zoom, and today is testament to that. And it's been very interesting. We've ended up, we had some learning problems at the beginning, but we actually found that recruiting the startups and interviewing them on Zoom was fine. Building these very small cohorts allowed people to get to know each other over Zoom calls. And then we experimented with different ways of doing mentoring. And we learned very early on that large groups of people find it very hard to talk to each other over Zoom. And we settled on what we're calling speed mentoring, where we've been bringing in 2 or 3 mentors and a small group of startups and spending an hour moving between rooms, breakout rooms. And the aim was not to do the mentoring there and then, but to give the startups a chance to meet the mentors and vice versa, so people could identify who they wanted to talk to in more depth later. So there's been a lot of organizational work in the background that Kim, Ryan, and Georgina in particular have worked miracles on. And it means that everyone has had a chance to meet each other quite often and then go off and have individual meetings with people as needed. So we managed to pull off the networking bit as best we could without meeting. And I think when we look at it overall, actually doing this on Zoom has been very interesting. Accelerators are very good at bringing people together, allowing them to meet, form these very strong bonds, but they involve a lot of travel and a lot of effort. When we started this out and I first discussed it with Chris, I said that the topic and the value the AWRC has meant it didn't need to be just a Sheffield program for Sheffield startups. There was no reason not to have an ambition for this to be an international program. And what Kim showed you has demonstrated that that was the case. And obviously not needing to be in Sheffield has actually really helped that. So we have people on the call today from all around the world. This has all become very normal. And we haven't had to use trains and airplanes. It's therefore been a lot cheaper, but it's also required a lot less time commitment from both the mentors and the startups, which is really good because the startup founders are busy running their businesses and the mentors are busy doing the interesting things they do. So there's been a lot of benefits. The downside, I suppose, is that most of us have never met in person, which is very strange after a year. But the upside, obviously, is we've been able to involve a lot more people, a lot more dynamically from multiple different locations. And I think really it's helped support that aim we had of this being a program where the expertise in Sheffield is shared globally. And I think it's done a great deal to promote Sheffield, to promote the AWRC and Sheffield Hallam as well. And it's allowed us to build this network of people in wellbeing, regardless of where they are, which is really good because a sector-specific program really wants to be global. So I think overall, the pivot worked. The lockdown and the pandemic has not damaged what we've done. And we've actually been trailblazers in how you deliver these things completely online out of necessity. And it's been a huge success. So that's my bit. And I'll be coming in later to do a short panel. And I'm happy to answer questions afterwards or by email. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toby. That was great. Thank you also for keeping to time, for 5 minutes almost exactly. So next up is our first pitching session. This is the first 4 of our startups who will each have a 3-minute pitch. Well, they'll tell you about what their startup is, what they do, and what they're asking for. So I'll hand you over to the first startup, which is Restful.
Let's talk about sleep. 2/3 of UK adults do not regularly get a good night of sleep. And chronic sleep disruption is implicated in and potentially causal in diseases like Alzheimer's and cancer. My name is Greg Getter, and today I want to introduce Restful. We're solving this problem of epidemic proportions. It started with a simple idea. Blue light before sleep can interrupt your sleep. You see, before the advent of electric lighting, people spent their nights in relative darkness. And now that we're surrounded by TVs, computers, phones, and electric lighting, we're getting a blue light signal all the time. And that is messing with our circadian rhythms or sleep cycles. So Bedtime Bulb is a light bulb that you use in the evening in place of your existing lighting, and it reduces blue light. And we've had quite a bit of success with this product. We've sold more than 20,000 units to more than 12,000 customers, and we're expanding internationally. But we're not stopping there. It's our mission to give 10 million people a great night of sleep by the end of next year. And here's how we're going to do that. The first is with Atmos. We're taking the concept of Bedtime Bulb and making it a lot smarter. Atmos is the first smart lamp that will dynamically adjust to your individual sleep needs. So it'll give you the right light at the right time of day to promote optimal sleep and wakefulness. And we're also working on the Restful app, which is even more accessible. most people have a sense that things like caffeine, light, and food can affect their sleep, but they don't know exactly how much to consume and when exactly to cut it off. The Restful app is going to be the first app that helps you understand how these things affect you individually. So we could use a little bit of a help. The first is that we're looking to seek clinical validation so we can eventually expand the circadian lighting concept into a healthcare environment. The second is that we are looking to expand into physical retail more within the UK and Europe. So if you know anything about those two subject areas, I would love to speak to you. And finally, if you are interested in improving your sleep, or you know someone who really needs help with sleep, you can purchase Bedtime Bulb on our website, bedtimebulb.com, or on Amazon UK. Thanks so much, and sweet dreams.
Right, Jane, it's over to you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jane and I work for Salus Fatigue Foundation, a charity based in the West Midlands helping people with fatigue. In 2015, I was a fit, healthy and active PE teacher and mum. Then in 2016, life came to an almighty stop. System overload led to system shutdown. I had widespread pain, I had lead for muscles, I had to have help getting dressed. I struggled to write and speak coherently. And you know, in Men in Black, when they get the pen and they zap your memory, it was like that. Huge chunks of my memory have gone from that period in time. I'm not alone though in this life impacting fatigue. There are 260,000 people in the UK for whom a good night's sleep just doesn't do it. Where does this fatigue come from? Well, a huge range of conditions, longer than listed here. And obviously, unfortunately, recently, we're hearing about the awful fatigue from long COVID. Often, after diagnosis, health professionals are left unsure with how to help us manage our fatigue. Salus has the answer. We have self-management via our Fatigue Wellbeing Hub. We have education via our workshops, and we have support through our online groups. We know we're needed. £542 million was the UK Health Service spend just on chronic fatigue syndrome alone in 2017. We are funded by hub subscriptions, by donations to our charity, and by local funding. 75% of our beneficiaries reported that they were using less or no medication as a result of following our programme. If that's the case, then we have the potential to help the NHS save £28.5 million. So now it's over to you. Please keep your workforce healthy. Share us on your Wellbeing Hub or include us in your wellbeing policies. Ensure all stakeholders in your absence management programme are aware of us and refer to us. And please consider donating to us. £100 will pay for 3 education sessions that we could roll out to hundreds of people. Help us to help more people, please. People like Judith and Angela, Kath, Jane, Peter, Janet, Sophia. Please help them to return to their families, to their work, to their communities. I really look forward to having a conversation with you. Thank you for your time. And can I also thank my son, George, who helped in the production of this PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
Anthony, over to you.
Hello there, my name is Anthony Blackburn and I'm the founder of a social enterprise called Golf in Society. Our social mission is all about transforming lives. And in this presentation, I'll give you an insight into how we do it, and more importantly, why it's about so much more than golf. The inspiration for my social mission was my dad. He loved his sport, and all he needed towards the end of his life was a little help to keep enjoying it. The issues we address are the growing crisis in adult care, the blight of loneliness amongst adults, and an aging population living with increasingly complex health issues. In addition, we tackle a crisis in unpaid care, It's estimated that 8.4 million are living with a long-term health condition of their own. Here's a real-life example. Alan has Alzheimer's and Fiona has cancer. And this photo was taken 4 years ago at one of our golf days. Sadly, Alan is now in full-time nursing care and Fiona is still fighting cancer. And both are just 60 years old. It was an absolute privilege to support them. So what's our unique solution? Well, in partnership with our customers, we've co-designed a range of golf days that support older adults to enjoy a happier, healthier life. Our golf days have 4 major benefits for some of the most inactive, disadvantaged, and vulnerable adults in society. Firstly, it's good for the body, as each session delivers 2/3 of the recommended weekly exercise. Secondly, it's great for the brain, as you make 27 major decisions when you play a golf shot. It's good for the soul too, as we give people a chance to socialize and keep connected. And finally, the unpaid carers. They get the chance to enjoy 2 hours of respite, which, in their own words, is proving to be a lifesaver. So what's our special recipe? Well, it's straight from Mother Nature's cookbook. We use her key ingredients of purpose, place, and people, and sprinkle everything we do with compassion, dignity, and respect. So far, we've successfully delivered over 650 golf sessions and transformed over 300 lives. And this message from Ben to thank us for transforming his dad's life will stay with me forever. So we'd like to make Sheffield the first age-friendly golf region in the world. By opening 15 venues, we will create hundreds of jobs, transform thousands of lives, and start to level up health inequalities once and for all. To make this happen, we're looking for a £250,000 investment over 2 years in return for £4 million worth of social impact. I look forward to working with you to make this proposal a reality for the people of Sheffield, and thank you for your time.
Right, great, thanks. And it's over to you now, Jen.
Hi everyone, my name is Jen Turner. I'm a physio, I'm the founder of JT Rehab, and I'm the inventor of the S-Press. It is an easy to use portable leg strengthening device. It's been devised to speed up recovery, prevent muscle deconditioning and improve patient outcomes. So 68% of older people admitted to hospital do not recover their previous level of mobility. So that often means that they need a care package putting in or equipment, which is very expensive and also takes a long time to organise. We've got just under half of delayed discharges from hospital caused by slow physical recovery. Now that has massive implications for patient flow through the hospital and also a massive cost of £390 million a year to the NHS. So we've got overstretched physio teams who have very few options for effective leg strengthening for patients, particularly older patients. So they're extremely frustrated about not being able to easily deliver high quality gold standard care. Now I know this because I was one of them, and that's why I invented the S-Press. So it has a patented leg support system. So that allows the patients to easily use it unsupervised. So that basically frees up the physio teams. It uses effective, proven progressive resistance to strengthen all the muscles in the leg for the sit to stand action. So just like you would find a gym piece of equipment in the gym, but it is fully compliant with tissue viability and infection control, and it is conveniently able to be used in the patient's bed or next to them while they're sitting in the chair. So we're basically enabling physio teams to see more patients more effectively, more often. So 96% of physios polled in an independent proof of market stated that the S-Press could help their patient group. We've got critical care, particularly, and older people's rehab saying it could be a complete game changer for their services. And we've done PPI and focus groups with patients and relatives, and there is an absolute desperation for more physio intervention on wards. So we've done some clinical testing with prototypes that we've had, and we've shown an increase in ability, speed, and confidence with sit to stand. So we believe there is a market for an espresso in every hospital and every care home in the world. So its price and effectiveness make it substantially better value than any competitive product. We're working with a great team, and we've got 4 sites at Northamptonshire Healthcare ready to do clinical evaluation. We've got an extremely excited clinical director and research team down there ready to start. So we've already gained £150,000 in funding so far to get clinical approval and pre-production prototypes. So we're now asking for £200,000 and a manufacturing partner to get us to production and to market. So let's get the espresso to market. Let's see more patients more effectively, more often. Thank you.
Right, great. Thank you, Jen, and thank you to all of our speakers. That's the end of the pitching session, and we had built in lots of extra time to each session because we've figured everyone was going to run over, but it turns out that everyone's kept to time or spoken less time than they were supposed to. So our break was supposed to be at 3 o'clock, so we're going to be giving you a long break. So if you come back, I think let's see if we can finish this event a bit sooner. So if you want to have a break and come back at 3 o'clock, please, if that's okay. And so feel free to turn your screens off and go and make yourself a cup of tea and maybe have that chocolate biscuit early. Make a start again. Hopefully you've all had a chance to stretch your legs and get a drink and maybe that chocolate biscuit or something similar. So next up is the first of our networking sessions. Again, I have to apologize that we were supposed to be in a nice location, all face-to-face, but we're doing the best we can on Zoom. And so we're going to be doing some networking via Zoom. This is going to be kind of a new thing for us. Hopefully it'll work. Here we're going to be sending you into randomized groups of 4 people into a breakout room in Zoom. And then you'll have 4 minutes to have a chat and see if there's any connections there, anything that you want to, if there's anything that you want to maybe follow up with afterwards. If people haven't used breakout rooms before, Duncan will assign you to a room, and you'll see a message that will come up on the screen, a window that will come on the screen saying, click here to join your room. So click on that. And in the top right-hand corner, you'll see a countdown clock that will start from 4 minutes and then go down to 0. You'll at the end of the time, you'll see another window that will come up and say leave the room. Or if that doesn't pop up and you've definitely had your 4 minutes, click leave. There'll be a leave button you can use, and then you'll go back into the main Zoom room, and then we'll do another session. And then because we're also ahead of time, and I'm not sure if all of our panel members are here yet, we might do a 3rd session until our panel members arrive, and then we'll do the panel afterwards. So I think we're ready, Duncan, whenever you are, to split us into rooms.
Ready to go. Opening now.
That was too good. We were all mid-conversation when we got booted out.
Excellent. So was 5 minutes now too long or not long enough?
Nothing's ever right.
Nikki Snowden says that was better length.
It was fine. We can always, it's the start of a conversation, isn't it? So we can have further chats along the line if we need to.
Georgina, can I ask, are all our panelists here?
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yes, I think they are all here. Duncan, we all good to?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let's go into the panel.
Right, that's me. So we're going to have a quick panel discussion about how we've been supporting R&D and wellbeing innovation and its role. And the interesting thing about our panelists, who are all popping up along the screen, is that we worked out they sort of represent a journey from beginning to the end of this process. The end probably being Aejaz and access into the NHS, and the beginning being Ben at research level, with the others jumbled up in the middle. So we're going to throw out the question, really, what role does R&D have in supporting innovation and well-being, and then particularly what role do you have in your organization, just to try and plot the journey quite a lot of our startups have been going on. So I think if you introduce yourselves as we go, that might be actually more interesting. So if we start with Ben, and then we can fight over who feels they go next. But Ben, do you want to just sort of talk about, well, introduce yourself, and then
absolutely, yeah. Thanks, Toby. Yeah. So I know we've only got a short period of time for this, so I'll probably talk at 100 miles an hour, but just contact me on chat if you need more information. So I'm a medical engineer by background, specializing in biomechanics and instrumentation, so medical electronics. And I've been at Sheffield Hallam as part of the sports engineering group since 2006. And I would slightly disagree with Toby about the roles we can play within the Wellbeing Accelerator. Absolutely, we can be involved at a very early stage with basic research and knowledge exchange, but also kind of halfway through products when you're looking to move towards more production or clinically ready tools, and we can look at electronics, mechanical, software design and co-design, but also late stage validation and clinical testing. Using the amazing facilities of the AWRC, which are probably not available, I would imagine, to any of the startups within the accelerator. And I think we've covered that full range with a lot of the projects I've been supporting. I've personally been supporting 6 companies. I won't particularly go into the details, but perhaps one of the interesting things is, because almost all of that work has involved face-to-face work, and clearly we've been severely impacted by COVID. And a lot of that face-to-face work has been with participants who would have been considered vulnerable through age or other illness. So we've had to do some, I think pivoting was the term that was used earlier. We've done some very, very creative pivoting. And just very quickly, I'll describe a project that we're starting next week with Exio, which is they're producing gamification to improve balance for older people with loss of balance. And we're designing games, and we're designing some of the electronics to pick up their balance and use that to control games. Now, bringing older people on site is clearly not going to be possible at the moment during lockdown. Getting people to do it in their own homes who have balance limitations is also not safe. So what we've done is we've designed iPad games that are controlled through tilting rather than balance, and it's controlled through hands rather than through legs. But it's an intuitive and quite closely paralleled interface. And through that, we can assess the user interface with a group of users that aren't particularly IT literate, and also look at the motivational aspects of the games, whether they find them too fast, too slow, boring, motivating. And so we're looking forward to kind of a week of very intense co-design work with these participants over the next week without any face-to-face contact whatsoever. So these things are possible. We can collect some really interesting research evidence. It just takes a bit of creativity. And I'll stop there.
Thank you. And then Jason, maybe if I could bring you in as a sort of part of Ben Heller's package. The AWRC has been central to this program, and the aim has really been, as Ben said, to get the startups quick access to both kit and people that they would not otherwise have access to or would have trouble finding. But obviously the AWRC is very new as well and has been shut for most of the last year. Yeah. But moving forward, I mean, that interaction between early stage companies and perhaps larger industrial partners How do you see that developing within the AWRC?
Well, I'm going to do that typical thing that panelists do where they kind of go off on their own channel. So it's interesting to be described as part of Ben's package. Good to see you, Ben, by the way. And good to see so many people on the line as well. There's a great audience of folk out there, and everybody's so interesting, giving great support. The thing I want to sort of say before I start really is this whole idea. We talk a lot about sort of the elderly population, but when I first started in this role, I had quite a long conversation with Tony Schwartz, the dean of our college. And one of the things Tony said to me is, don't forget the youth, don't forget the young as well as the old. And the question that I'd like to ask, not just the panel, but everybody else around us here, is, what kind of world do we want to leave for our children? And I don't want to sound too grandiose by saying that, because actually R&D in health and wellbeing is critical to making this happen. The AWRC is shaped around looking at prevention and resilience in populations rather than simply intervention when things go wrong. So we make people stronger. So things like COVID happen, and the AWRC and all the innovators that are involved in the AWRC and the researchers, they're about making people more resilient, a more resilient lot. So when these things happen, we can contend with them better. But as well as all that, what does it all mean? Why are we doing this? Well, actually, think about things like health inequalities. That building behind me is in the middle of Darnall. It's a really poor ward in Sheffield. And actually, why shouldn't people in Darnall or Shire Green or Shirecliff, disadvantaged areas around our city, why shouldn't those people have long, healthy lives? Why shouldn't those people have, lives just as long as anybody else? And I think this whole idea of addressing that by using technology is really important. I've spent 21 years working with companies of all sizes, SMEs, right through to global corporate businesses at Medilink in my previous employer. And this idea of thinking differently how we can use current technology, but also by embracing the community, having the patient, the person at the heart of what we do, working alongside them to make sure they aren't having health done to them, they're actually doing it to themselves and working alongside us. So I think that whole thing about, also working with business to make that happen. I see business not just as exploiters, but as almost like applied facilitators of technology to improve people's health. And this whole idea of the health and wellbeing agenda is hugely important. Sheffield Hallam University is an applied university. We take research and we apply it to the real world. And I think that's hugely important. And if you think about why that's important, coming back better from COVID and things like that, something like 50 to 70 billion pounds per year cost this country on health inequalities. If we can even start to address that, we'll make a huge difference. But the money's one thing. What really matters is all of us, our lives, how we progress forward. And I think this idea of creating a continuum in innovation, in R&D, and that's what I'm here for. I'm the Deputy Director of the AWRC with a lead responsibility for R&D for business. I think this idea of looking at this whole continuum of how a business is formed, pre-startup, SME business, spin-out organizations, working with medium-sized organizations and large businesses. And I believe the AWRC and Hallam as a university should be able to work anywhere on that continuum. I think that's so important to the future of our healthcare, really. I'll stop now. That was quite a long time.
Well, thanks. And Lindsey, Pippa and Aejaz, you're all mentors on the programme, so you've had a lot of chance to talk to the startups. And also you'll have your own little bit of what you do. Pippa, do you want to just give us some of the ideas, the interactions you've had and your perception of how the R&D is important and been supported?
Yeah, so I'm with
yourself and say who you do, what you do.
Yeah, I'm with Devices for Dignity. So we're an organisation hosted by Sheffield Teaching Hospitals, been around since 2008, actually, in various forms. And this is about catalysing new technology, thinking about long-term conditions. And of course, that goes into what we can do at the front end in terms of our own health and wellbeing to hopefully not develop certain conditions as we progress, but also supporting people already living with chronic conditions. And I think really what's been interesting talking to a lot of the startups and understanding where they've come from, I think is about behaviour and how we don't all think the same in terms of our health and wellbeing. We don't have the same motivations, aims, expectations. So I think there was a lot in terms of how R&D has a role in thinking about the kind of design, behavioural, social components in terms of adoption of using wellbeing technology, and how that research has to be fundamental to understand how somebody else is going to use something. We can't come in with that N equals 1. Well, this is how I'd use this bit of technology or this product or service. It has to understand how you segment that market and how people are going to use something in terms of in the future, that being an ongoing piece of innovation that is used in people's well-being. So I think a lot of the work we do is thinking about that human factors element, thinking about behaviour, working with user groups from the very front end, and thinking about how user-centred design is built into that whole process, so that you're saving yourself sort of cost and time later on when you've invented something which works for a certain population, but not for as many as you'd hoped it would to have that impact. And I think the D4D methodology, which back in 2008 was probably ahead of its time, but clearly people are embracing very, very fully in terms of starting with the unmet need, really understanding. So, you know, when Jen was talking earlier about, you know, there's something missing here. People need that rehab. They need it to be accessible. They need it to be easy to use. They need to be able to do it without a physio having to stand over them to sort of free up that capacity, really getting under the skin of that and understanding where that need lies, and then working with those users to influence the usability and thinking about that. So I think I can see a lot in terms of the inquiries I've had in the past through Aejaz for Dignity and where the startups have come in. And I think it's interesting to see how that support has been there to help people think about not only, you know, people, it's not about the product, is it? People don't want the product for the product. They want it to be able to achieve something. What will this enable me to do? So I don't want to be an Olympic athlete. I want to be able to run and get a bit fitter and feel better about myself. So I want to go on holiday or see my grandchildren. Or so it's about the purpose of it. And I think that's been interesting with the startups as to where they see what will my innovation help someone to achieve.
I think you described nicely the wider R&D aspect of the accelerator. Is there's talking to the engineers, building and testing the thing, but the user-centered design input, getting people to think about how people use it, who uses it, is really where the mentoring comes in around the AWRC expertise. And Lindsey, both you and Medipex generally have been really, really involved. So you just give us a bit on both, please, and it'd be also interesting to hear your take on it.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsey from an organisation called Medipex, and we support innovators from whether it's from the NHS, universities or SMEs to develop new products and services that can improve help patient health and well-being. We help take people from the point where they've got an idea through to where they've kind of developed and tested their idea and hopefully demonstrated that it works. So I think for me, the importance of R&D in health and well-being is around that, making sure that the relatively limited budget that's available to invest in health and well-being innovation is appropriately used. So you've got sort of research on the earlier stages to actually help identify what are the real problems and where are there opportunities for improvement, and where is the real need for improvement that can deliver the best benefit for patients, but also efficiency in the health delivery service. And then later on, R&D is valuably important on the part of the pathway that we work along, because you've got to generate the evidence that your idea actually does what you've said it was going to do from the outset. So from a regulator's point of view, is it safe and does it work? But also from it's never going to deliver any benefit unless people actually buy it and adopt it and use it. So as well as the evidence, using research to generate evidence for regulatory approval to make sure it's safe and it works, you also, as Pippa was saying, you've got to incorporate that usability element of it to make sure you're developing something that people can use, they actually want it, they can afford it, and they can see how it will fit into either existing pathways. So our sort of work that we've done predominantly with the startups on the accelerator has been having those conversations around involving users, thinking about the end users in terms of who's buying it, who's using it, what are their drivers, and making sure that you conduct R&D activities to develop the evidence that both of those people need to see. And that's the best way that you're going to get this intervention adopted. Does it actually work? Does it deliver the benefits that you originally set out for it to deliver?
And you guys have been doing a lot of mentoring, I think more than just you from the team, isn't that right?
There's been quite a few of us from the team. Yes, there's a couple of colleagues on the call today.
And have you had any further engagements with some of the startups?
We've had quite a number of one-to-one follow-ups after the sort of speed mentoring sessions. A number of people have asked to get in touch, or conversely, we've asked to get in touch where we've seen opportunities for us to help people. So yeah, we've had a number of one-to-one conversations, and potentially we can work further with some of those organisations going forward as well.
In the networking, I was asked by someone what happens after an accelerator, And I think what you're describing there is the idea of an accelerator being a catalyst to get everyone together very quickly. But when it ends, the network still exists, the contacts are still there, and they can continue to do things. Which brings me very neatly to Aejaz. With all your different titles, even you've managed to squeeze them all on your signature. But I mean, the AHSN in particular really being another network next to our network. So please introduce yourself and what you both of your outfits do.
Sure. So thanks, Toby. So I've got, I guess you could think of it as two hats. I'm part of the Academic Health Science Network of Yorkshire and Humber, but I'm fully embedded within the South Yorkshire and Bassettlaws integrated care system. And you've probably all heard that the ICSs are essentially a model of that's becoming more and more formal in planning and strategizing about service development across the health and social care sector. So the South Yorkshire and Bassettlaw ICS covers 5 areas: Sheffield, Rotherham, Doncaster, Barnsley and Bassettlaw. And so all of the health and care providers and the local authorities and a number of voluntary sector organizations are part of the ICS. And what we're doing in the Innovation Hub in the ICS is trying to I guess you could think of it as priming the system and all of these various entities across the system to be more ready for adoption of innovation, so that their innovation can be adopted quicker, better across the health and care geography. So research has a really strong part to play in that, but for the most part, in the ICS, we're very closely integrated with the commissioning bodies, the CCGs of all of these 5 entities, and those are essentially, from a commercial perspective, customers of the SMEs and startups that we have across the table. And so the end goal for us is to ensure that our commissioners that we work with on a day-to-day basis have the key decision points that they need. So the outcomes of all of the research activities or evaluation activities that happen, the end goal with each of those is key decision points that the commissioners can decide investment decisions, make investment decisions on in adopting those innovations in their patches. So we get involved. So although you started off, Toby, with saying that we're probably at the end of a pipeline of innovation, but I think my AHSN hat, where we're all about adoption of mature evidence-based innovations and technologies in the health sector, definitely I would say we're at the end of the pipeline. But at the same time, being entrenched in the ICS, we constantly come across a lot of unmet needs and challenges. Some of those will have possibly market-ready solutions already out there that we can match them with. But for a lot of them, solutions don't currently exist. And there may be innovators, in these accelerator programs that may have solutions or half-ready solutions that could quickly pivot to support an unmet need that we have identified in our patch. So already one of the innovators in this accelerator, Kevin Orton, who's developed a solution around asthma originally, are now pivoting towards cardiac rehabilitation, and that's an unmet need that we definitely have in our patch here. So we could then support them to kind of understand those new needs for which they already have a solution potentially. But
I think what you're describing nicely is, there are lots of words associated with innovation like melting pots and the social network element of it. What we're looking here on the screen here, really, with the 6 of us, is we're bringing together lots of branches out to other networks, and information is flowing in both directions. I think you've highlighted that very well, Aejaz, that we also need to inform the purchasers of the innovations that the innovations exist and how to talk to those innovators. So I think all of us are in different stages of that within the sort of wider remit of R&D. is helping people make sure that the ideas and the end products meet. And I think the accelerator has been good for that, because obviously you just have to look at this tiny snapshot of the people involved. We're able to move information back and forth very effectively between groups of people who may never meet, and especially on the international angle of all this. We have a few minutes. Do you have any other thoughts on, I mean, thoughts or interesting stories from the accelerator about, as Aejaz said, people pivoting, how we've engaged with them? Deathly silence. Well, Lindsey, I mean, you were talking before about some of the follow-up stuff. Do you think there's a chance with this program or future programs that Medipex could actually work with some of the startups beyond the program?
We really hope so, and we are having conversations with some of those startups. And my colleague Aejaz, who's on the call today, is our senior market intelligence manager, and I know there was a lot of interest from companies to work with her to sort of understand the market and understand the clinical pathways that they're trying to get into, and articulating how this product might fit. So I think there is definitely scope to move forward with a lot of the companies that we've met through the accelerator, and it's been really good from our perspective to have these opportunities to meet SMEs that we can help, and the speed mentoring sessions have been really useful in that respect.
And Ben, I think also the other angle of this, of course, is that people within academia need to talk to entrepreneurs for that mutual exchange of ideas.
Absolutely, Toby. And I think this discussion, certainly for me, has made it very clear what a tremendous opportunity the Wellbeing Accelerator has provided. And I think it'd be tragic if at the end of the tenure it finishes and we all disappear off to our own little ivory towers. So I think, you know, it's vital that we keep a mechanism like this going, because there are so many aspects to developing a product, identifying an unmet need, as Aejaz referred to, developing the products, researching efficacy, usability, getting them to market, clinical trials, marketing, etc., all the regulatory issues. And it really, you know, it's very hard, particularly for a small company, to be able to solve these problems individually. And we certainly can't do it. We can do aspects of it. So I think, you know, what we're looking at the panel and wider are really the expertise that's needed to be able to do that. And if we can find some mechanism to continue to provide Wellbeing Accelerator too, I think that would be tremendously useful.
Well, we're definitely working on that. So thank you all of you. I think that's been a wonderful snapshot of what we've all been doing, actually. And as I say, of that breadth of R&D that startups need access to, and the programs provided. So thanks to our panel. And we would all walk off the stage now, but we'll all just be unspotlighted and carry on with the next bit of the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool.
Well, thank you very much, everyone on the panel. That was a really fantastic session, really insightful and thought-provoking. And I liked Jason's comments on the chat that it can be summed up that we're all about helping people with their health and well-being to improve. And so I think that's a pretty fair summary. So you'll be pleased to know we're ahead of schedule. We're 4 minutes ahead of schedule. So at the moment we'll be finishing 4 minutes earlier, which is great. So we're now into our second pitching session. And so I'll hand you over to GP Video.
Hi, I'm Joe from GP Video Library, and we make videos. So we've made our pitch in the style of the videos that we make. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, I'm Eva Laiko from Alsad Medical, a digital health company from Hungary. In the UK, 1 in 8 people are at risk of developing chronic kidney disease. Kidney treatment required about £1.5 billion of the NHS budget last year. Treatment includes complex medication and a restrictive diet. As the condition advances, patients need expensive and time-consuming dialysis treatment or a kidney transplant. Main reasons behind chronic kidney disease are uncontrolled diabetes, obesity, or cardiovascular problems, often caused by unhealthy diet and lifestyle. COVID infection can also cause kidney failure. Diet and lifestyle elements are often overlooked or neglected in chronic care, although could significantly slow down the progress of the disease. AHSN stands for Automated Lifestyle Advice, which is the name of our web application. Artificial intelligence helps the user to get personalized assistance optimized for condition management and care goals based on personal and medical data, needs, habits, and preferences. AHSN also connects the patients with human clinicians and dietitians for monitoring and support. Our application can be inserted into care plans by health providers. End users may also sign up directly and get connected with doctors and dietitians via a secure virtual channel. AHSN core technical team teamed up with medical partners Fresenius Medical Care Hungary, Semmelweis Medical University, and expert dietitians for core design, validated content, and patient experience. By now, over 500 patients use our application. Most of them are patients of a private hospital in Budapest. Besides benefit for the individual patient or dietitian, AHSN can make a difference on the public health level by slowing down the progress of the disease using a combination of digital monitoring tools and direct services for healthier diet and lifestyle. We are really glad that AWRC Accelerator with Sheffield Hallam University helps us to adapt the product to the UK market, providing expert advice, mentoring, regulatory support, and introduction to the UK digital health and innovation ecosystem. And we would love to hear from you if you are interested in a collaboration as a partner, a nutrition specialist, a potential investor, academic partner, or a representative of the NHS or a private health organization. So let's help millions of patients with a chronic condition together. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Adler, an NHS GP and CEO of Peak Medtek Limited. We have developed Bide, a unique bedside device to reduce the risk of nighttime falls in the frail and elderly. Falls cost the NHS £4.6 million per day. That equates to £49 million per year in Derbyshire, with the average cost of a fall being £7,500. As a GP, I have also seen the catastrophic effects of falls on my patients and their families. With 25% of the UK population aged over 65, healthy ageing and independent living are priorities for the NHS and the government. 1 in 2 of over 80s falls every year, and up to 20% of those falls occur at night, most often when getting out of bed to go to the toilet. Now that can be due to low blood pressure, medication effects, poor mobility, dementia, or just maybe not taking the time to set themselves properly and stand up safely. So with Bide, it's not about detecting falls, it's about preventing them before they happen in the first place. So with our light and motion sensors, by switching on the bedside light or sitting up in bed, Bide voices a soothing or encouraging pre-recorded message from a loved one, a carer, or a health professional. That might be take your time, count down from 10, remember your frame, or something as simple as Mum, we love you. Anything that just prompts them to set themselves properly and stand up more safely. There's no direct competition in our space, with the combination of in-the-moment reminder, no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth needed, no third party involved, and our dementia-friendly capacity. This is Brian. He's a patient of mine. He used to fall every night when getting out of bed. He's been using our Bide prototype for the last 3 years and has had no nighttime falls. It's a miracle, it really is, he says. So we have pilots of 10 devices in individuals' homes in Stoke and 20 devices in care homes in Wolverhampton, with excellent interim feedback and support from dementia specialists and dementia friends. We're launching Bide in July 21 with direct sales to individuals purchasing Bide for their elderly loved ones, but also B2B2C, NHS and social care, for example, falls response teams and post-hospital discharge, but also care home providers, third sector and smart housing. With the unit costs being so high in the NHS, Bide at a one-off purchase retail price of £100, including VAT, can create enormous savings for the NHS and social care. For example, in Derbyshire, that would equate with annual savings of up to £330,000. I'm working with Rob Evis, my co-founder, who's also business developer and design engineer. Please contact us if you're interested in hearing more about Bide. We're also looking for a £250,000 investment to develop a digitally enabled Bide 2 with a subscription business model. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Shachar Figelman and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Selfit Medical. We're a digital therapy startup based in Israel, so hello from Tel Aviv. Next slide. So we all know the numbers. There are roughly around 1 billion people in the world over 60 years old, and it's going to be 2 billion by 2050. And with aging, there is a growing need for prevention and rehabilitation therapies, but this market still depends on one-on-one session between a therapist and a patient. And there are so many potential patients, but just not enough therapy. So there's a huge gap. And this is why we see more automation, AI, and self-care services. So we have developed a unique human-machine interaction, a therapist robot, focusing on brain and heart conditions, which are the most common disorders among the elderly population. The robot on the right side is our B2B solution for hospitals, clinics, and nursing homes. And on the left, you can see our home care version, which is basically a smaller and more affordable solution for self-care. We see a number of use cases for this kind of interaction, from neuro and cardiac rehab to wellness and prevention programs. So what our robot can do? Like a human therapist, our robot starts with saying hello, continuing with clinical assessments to better understand the patient's status, and then proceed to exercise and treatment. The interaction with the patient is conducted through the floor. The floor is our playground. The exercises are designed for the most common problems to improve balance, movement, reaction time, memory, and many more physiological aspects. We are using augmented reality technology to project therapy sessions on the floor, demonstrating the patient what exercise you need to perform, how to perform them better, and at the same time, monitoring the patient's ongoing performance. We use this data with our AI engine for personalization of the process and to optimize neuroplasticity and motor learning techniques for better outcomes. Currently, our product is installed in several leading hospitals and care homes in Israel. We've ran a couple of pilots and a clinical study with stroke patients. The study has shown great results. We saw better patient outcomes, better level of efficacy and patients' engagements, and we'll keep working on further research to validate on a bunch of other areas. So our team, we all come from tech and health, working on various aspects of computer vision along the years. We also have a few advisors specialized in aging, neuro rehab, and AI. We're looking to partner on research and always looking for business partners and more funding. Thank you for your time.
Right, thank you very much. Those were 4 excellent pitches by our startups. So again, we're running ahead of time, which is great. So what I'm going to suggest is we have another break. Really do have that chocolate biscuit this time. And let's be back at 4 o'clock, not 10 past 4. 4 o'clock, please. Back. And I'm so pleased to see that we've still got 64 participants on the call. So you guys are the hardcore, the ones who are in for the long haul. Thank you so much for sticking around. So we're now, and I hope also you all did have that chocolate biscuit finally in that second break. So we're now on to the final 4 pitches. We've saved the best till last, obviously. So without further ado, it's over to Buddy Boost.
Great, thank you. Hello, my name's Robert Tanzi. I'm the founder of Buddy Boost, and we're on a mission to help 1 million people feel healthier and happier. And if that sounds like a big target, don't worry, because we've done this before. I was the leader of Sky's involvement in cycling, and inspired over 1.6 million people to get on their bikes. So what is Buddy Boost? Well, it's a public health intervention and a workplace wellbeing tool based on a unique buddy system, which is particularly effective at helping inactive people to start moving more, something which delivers immense benefits both to the individual and to society. And we're already up and running. We've raised £230,000. We have nearly 6,000 users who between them have now logged nearly 100,000 activities on the app. We have over 10 paying clients. And just this week, we've signed a license agreement, which will significantly increase both our reach and our revenue. So how does it work? Well, it's an activity challenge delivered via our simple and engaging app, where people buddy up in groups of up to 6 and support each other to do 26 minutes of exercise a day for 26 days in order to improve both their physical and their mental well-being. And it's very inclusive because it can be any activity. And it really doesn't matter how far or how fast people go, just that they do their 26 minutes and support their buddies to do theirs. And buddies really are the secret ingredient. And we see this through amazing engagement in the private buddy group feeds in the app, for our corporate clients in their own branded feeds, and at a community level when we're engaged by local borough councils. And the data shows that it absolutely works. On average, people's mood goes up by 24% on completion of their daily minutes. Buddies, on average, do nearly 40% more days of a challenge than people who try to go it alone. And 95% of that inactive cohort say that having a buddy really helped them complete the challenge. So buddy power really does work. You can see here that we're already ahead of target for the year and that the growth plan is achievable. But we also believe there's now real upside. In a working from anywhere world, companies are increasingly looking for initiatives that help colleagues do something fun and meaningful together that isn't yet another virtual meeting. In our next funding round, we're looking for £350,000 to further enhance certain aspects of the tech and to really ramp up our sales and marketing. So if you'd like to buddy up with us, please get in touch. Thank you.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Candace Hamson, CEO of Liminal Health based in Buckinghamshire. 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with early stage breast cancer. After years of treatment, thankfully, I have been cancer-free for the past 3 years, but it was not an easy journey. I couldn't find credible information or support to help me change the habits I needed to. I was never told that getting enough physical activity, for example, could reduce my risk of recurrence by 30 to 40%. Cancer is one of many long-term illnesses affecting the UK today. 1 in 3 workers face at least one chronic condition, while 1 in 5 face 2 or more. Resulting churn can be expensive at 30k per leaver, and attempts to address this have not been working. Many long-term conditions are preventable through lifestyle changes. Not many people are supported in improving their diet, exercise, and stress levels. It may seem simple, but these are difficult changes to make on your own. Liminal Health works with employers to provide personalized content and health coaching, activating lifestyle and behavior change in employees affected by chronic conditions, such as cancer, IBS, diabetes, and long COVID. We currently deliver one-on-one human coaching. Over time, we will reduce the need for humans, filling that gap with personalized content relevant to specific users. We will create self-navigable content modules and will provide disease-specific information to people, supporting their journeys to recovery and wellness. The potential market is huge. Millions of people of working age are affected by these conditions, and 45% of businesses already offer workplace wellness programs. We have lots of room to grow. There are many new startups offering workplace mental health services. We are better because we offer a holistic take on health that addresses not only mental health, but also nutrition, physical activity, mind-body connection. We also offer breadth and conditions that we support, as well as a more personalized service than traditional wellness benefits like yoga classes and fruit baskets. We have shown great traction to date. We have 3 paying clients, delivered over 50 coaching sessions, and are proud to be working with 2 health sector support programs. We also have a fantastic team. I bring deep patient experience and business development from over 10 years of innovation consulting and impact investing. Christine, my co-founder and CMO, has over 20 years experience in content marketing for global brands. And our head of product and tech, Urian, comes with over 10 years in developing health tech products. Our advisors also span the clinical psychology, health, and tech sectors. We are currently raising a 250K angel round to close at the end of March. We've already secured a majority of this round from a pre-seed fund, as well as some angels, leaving less than 50K in EIS eligible investments in this round. Please do get in touch if you'd like to hear more. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Kai Yang. I'm the founder of eTextSense. We develop a textile medical device for joint pain relief. There are 5 million people in the UK who suffer joint pain. Joint pain stops people engage with activities, impact on their sleeping quality. It can also lead to disease associated with inactive lifestyle. Knee joint pain is mainly caused by the wear and tear of the joints, such as osteoarthritis. It is also caused by injury. Our product is a wearable electrotherapy device. We integrate our novel dry electrodes in a piece of garment. The electrodes are connected to an electronic control unit, which can send electric impulse through the skin to interfere the pain signal transfer and boost body painkiller release. It is comfortable to wear, easy to use, washable, and reusable. It enables people to manage their pain at home without need of drugs or clinicians. We have secured over 100 sound grant funding, which is equity free. This enables us to develop our medical product through the collaboration with physio center and end users. We will launch our first product May this year. And we have also developed a quality management system certified by NQA, which is a global certification body. It is for development, manufacture, and distribution of electrotherapy device. This enables us to develop a range of products as the company grows. We also build partnerships with suppliers, distributions, and end users. We are a team of 3. I have 11 years experience on electronic textile for healthcare. I have secured a 2 million research grant as a principal investigator in my previous work and founded 2 companies. Tyler has a PhD in electronics, has 5 years experience to develop a wearable electronic. Liam has 15 years experience on medical device regulation. We are looking for customers who can benefit using our products, distributors, and a business partner who is interested to use our technology to develop other applications. And we also looking for people with business experience who can join our team, help us to secure investment and grow the business. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tommy Parker, CEO at Key Active, and we're a digital health company making people's personal everyday physical activity an accessible and effective medicine for improving health and well-being, long-term condition management, and rehabilitation. Our digital therapy is clinically proven to empower sustainable behavior change for physical activity and improve people's self-care without the need to visit clinics or gyms. It has no barriers to age or mobility and is proven to engage hard to reach groups and be effective in areas of deprivation. Physical activity is crucial for the prevention and management of long-term health conditions, is the cornerstone of many rehabilitation pathways, and improves our mental and physical well-being, enables us to age well, living our best lives for longer. However, existing interventions are restricted to exercise and have failed to engage those most at risk, or inspire sustainable behavior change. Harnessing the benefits of physical activity is about understanding that every move we make matters, and our approach expands the therapy window from just a few hours of exercise per week to include all 112 waking hours, helping people to discover the opportunities to move more within the context of their health, capacity, and environment. We analyze physical activity data from a validated device across multiple dimensions, which are all independently important to health. Data is instantly displayed in the user's personalized online dashboard, which is available 24/7 and incorporates clinically proven behavior change techniques to provide meaningful and actionable feedback. Telephone support is given by a trained key active mentor at key times during the first 12 weeks, and this helps the user gain the confidence to plan, monitor, and improve without the need for compulsion or prescription. This new personal understanding gives people the tools to make self-endorsed behavior change, driven by their intrinsic motivations, which is proven to be more sustainable than external factors such as nudges or rewards. We've demonstrated sustained behavior change for physical activity across multiple health conditions, and it's also acted as a powerful catalyst for other lifestyle change, providing further benefits to health outcomes and quality of life. By looking at the multiple dimensions of physical activity, which each have an independent impact on health, we can establish a comprehensive picture of physical activity and the net impact of our behaviors 24/7. This enables us to accurately measure health impact and provide evidence of clear economic benefit for all of our stakeholders. We've been successfully delivering our service to NHS patients and others over the past 3 years, including throughout the COVID pandemic, where we've delivered remarkable results. We want to reach more people and work with NHS organisations, employers and community providers to deliver measurable health benefit and social impact. So please get in touch to help us make this happen. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Tommy, and thank you to all of our founders and startups. They did an absolute, I think everyone agreed, they did a fantastic job at giving a succinct 3-minute pitch, and we are yet again running ahead of schedule. So thank you all of you for keeping to time. This now is the last bit of the, so we've got networking. Aren't we doing, I've got to do my closing remarks first. So thank you. This is the last formal bit of the event. I just wanted to thank everyone, do some thank yous and some closing remarks. So I think you'll agree it's been a great event, and I'm seeing lots of great feedback on the chat. So this is not just me saying it because I've helped organise it. It's been a great event. The startups have done a great job of doing their pitches. And so hopefully you all now have got a better idea of what the AWRC Wellbeing Accelerator is, what we've achieved, and how amazing our startups are. So all that left to say really is I've got some thank yous. The first one is something I've been very remiss about doing. He's been mentioned in dispatches, but I've not mentioned Chris Lowe, who was actually the founder of the Accelerator program. He was the brains behind it. He wrote the original bid to Research England with Tim Strickland in Research and Innovation Services. And so Chris has been a shining light on the Accelerator, and also he's my boss. So the fact that I've not mentioned him was a very bad mistake by me. So Chris, thank you. I also want to thank the program team. The team have been fantastic in running the program so far, and also in doing all the heavy lifting in organising this event. But talking of heavy lifting, I've got to thank Duncan, who is the person who's been doing the behind the scenes technicals, spotlighting the right people. You've done a fantastic job, Duncan. Thank you very much. I also want to thank our startups and founders. You've been inspiring. It's been wonderful to work with you over the last 10 or 11 months. Your pitches were wonderful, and yeah, you guys make doing this job really worthwhile. I also want to thank our amazing mentors who've given their time for free to support our startups and support the programme, and your help has been invaluable. I also want to thank our dedicated researchers who, under extremely trying circumstances, are powering ahead with the research projects for each of the startups. I also want to thank our panelists today who gave an excellent panel session, very insightful, very thought-provoking. And then finally, I want to thank our funders. First of all, Research England, who have funded the Accelerator programme, and we're very grateful for that funding, thank you. And then secondly, to the EU, via the ERDF scheme. They funded all of the equipment that's in the being used in the AWRC, and so many of the research projects that are being undertaken as part of the programme are using equipment funded by ERDF. And then finally, I want to thank all of you guys, the 61 people who are left, and also the 100 and something that were there at the beginning. Thank you for coming today. I hope you found it useful. And yes, so that's the end of the formal part of the event. If we were at the Wellcome Trust building, I'd now be telling you to go and have a glass of wine or a bottle of beer, and we'd have an informal networking session. But we are going to do another networking session. So for those of you who want to stick around, we'll have some networking sessions. I think because we're ahead of schedule, we'll try and finish well before 5 o'clock. But we'll do two or three networking sessions, and as before, you'll be put into breakout rooms, randomized to 4 people, and you have 4 minutes. No, maybe we'll do 5 minutes, Duncan and Georgina. Let's do 5 minutes.